Welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I am Jason Green. It is Wednesday, the first Wednesday of 2024. Happy New Year to everybody. The Happy New Year quota is running out, so use it while you can. We'll say it tonight, and then tomorrow, it's too much. We've said it enough. Also, for those watching, it's Happy New Year with an R on the end. There is no S. Those of you who might be saying Happy New Year's, that is silly, and we wouldn't want to be silly. I'm so glad that so many of you have joined me at the very last second. Listen, one of my resolutions this year is to set a time to do this show and to pay attention and to prepare some entertainment and for you, more than usual is what I'm getting at. And that's where Patreon and YouTube memberships come in handy. If you're not a Patreon, this is the time to sign up. It's in the description, the link. Become a member. You'll see the content early. The goal in the next 2 weeks is to put out 4 brand new tour diaries, 2 brand new interviews, and a live show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're on the East Coast, it's 9 o'clock. Anywhere else, they have a thing called Google. You can figure it out. But I'm so grateful that we're here again. We're kicking off what might be my 4th year, and maybe it's the 3rd year. I think this will be the 3rd year. We started this show on New Year's Eve, a couple of years ago. Who knows? And since it's built into a great thing with a really great audience, that's you. And I'm so glad that you're here. We are going to have a special guest coming by. I am going to talk about Stephen Pearcy's incredibly popular sold-out show at the Whiskey, and we're going to talk to my co-host for the night. For many years, you weren't allowed to do this, but now you can, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hold on one second. Where did that go? Oh, there it is. This is Steamboat Willie, Steamboat Mickey from Steamboat Willie. Today, he is now in the public domain. Anyone can own Mickey, and he can sit here and he can co-host the show. And the people at YouTube can't stop us. Nobody can stop us because he's in the public domain. I personally am against it. I think that these copyright laws, as many laws, are ridiculous. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more, and our special guest right after this. I know many of you are tired of seeing the Christmas tree behind me. I know for a lot of people, Christmas was a hard time. It can be depressing, depending on where you're at with your friends and your family. You could, it could be a hard time. Well, you made it. New Year's as well. Well, you all made it. You made it through the holidays, and I'm glad you're still with us. And for some of us, it was the happiest Christmas ever, which was mine. I had a great time, got to accomplish a lot of things. I had a quiet New Year's Eve here in Las Vegas, though. Did not want to go out, although Phil Lewis invited me to see LA Guns at the Whiskey. I just had other things to do, and it's overwhelming. But and I'll get to some comments, but I want to talk about some copyright stuff, which is interesting to me. Also, congratulations to everyone who was not on the list that came out today. That's one list you didn't want to make. Although I haven't heard from Johnny Monaco today. Actually, I have. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, and then again, a special guest, but copyright law, real quick. We're going to give you a brief summary. Basically, after 95 years, things become public domain. And Disney fought a long time to challenge that. And they said, that they own Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is a corporate sponsor. Mickey Mouse should not be. Disney owns it. The Walt Disney Corporation should own Mickey Mouse. Well, there's a few things that happen when somebody passes away who created something. Their work will go into public domain 50 years on some things and 75 if it was a corporate based thing in the case of Disney. So after the creator passes 75 years, it becomes public domain. And in other cases, things like Steamboat Willie, 95 years later, Disney fought many times to have it, stricken, make sure that they can keep their lovable mascot who brings in billions of dollars. A lot of people hate Disney and think they're a greedy conglomerate company, but ask yourself, if you created something, would you want it to go into the public domain? Now, I know you'll be gone at that time, but let's say you wrote a song. I've written a few songs. My guest today has written a ton of songs. Would you say, who cares? 95 years, let anyone who cares have it? Or would you think that, hey, my family or the family, the heirs should get the money? So, what does it mean that Steamboat Mickey is public domain? Well, as of right now, anyone watching this can do whatever they like with Mickey Mouse in reason. He could be on the cover of Wednesday 13's next album. That would be fine. The only thing is you can't represent that it's a Disney product, saying that you can't make it look like Disney endorsed this. You can't make it look like, if you make a new feature with Steamboat Mickey here, you cannot make it look like it's a Disney movie. Well, what do you know? Two companies, horror movies, are coming out. One already has a trailer featuring Steamboat Mickey. Mickey is going to be a murderer, a horror character. Could it be good? I don't know. Winnie the Pooh went public domain last year, and he went on and had a horror movie, became a murderer. Well, Tigger, his lovable friend, this year also becomes public domain. So they are making a sequel to that Winnie the Pooh horror movie. I haven't seen it, but maybe my guest has. But Tigger is now able to join Winnie the Pooh on a murdering streak in the next movie. Other things that are last year, Sherlock Holmes became public domain. Other things that go public domain this year, 2024, Frankenstein's monster, Dracula. These are all things that are public domain. But if you try to put out a green Frankenstein with a flat head and bolts his neck that looks like Boris Karloff, you'll be sued by Universal Studios. They've copywritten that version of Frankenstein. So it's the same with Mickey Mouse. If you try to make him, he's not wearing gloves in this picture. If you try to put him in the outfit from Fantasia or something, Disney will sue you. But it is a strange time to think that that things can just, people can just have them. I believe that if I started a corporation and Mickey Mouse was my mascot, I would want my corporation to be able to keep him. Who knows what people are going to do? Can you imagine Wednesday 13's new song about a Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Mickey? It could be very scary for the children. But anyway, but we are allowed to have, we can actually watch the entire episode right now of that show because it's things. Someone's mentioning Bela Lugosi, that as well. While Dracula and the story of Dracula is in the public domain, if you attempt to make him look like Bela Lugosi, you will be sued. Danny Santos says Killer Pooh was awesome. And so some people seem to have enjoyed it. So a lot of people are here and a lot of people are excited. And I was going to come on here and I was going to tell you all about the big show that took place at the world famous Whiskey A Go Go. And I thought, well, I could sit here and tell you about it, but wouldn't it be better if I talked to somebody who was there? And then a lot of the people who were there were busy or didn't have the time or didn't want to come on. So then I said, well, what about somebody who was supposed to be there but couldn't make it? And maybe that they would come on and chat with me about the show, and then I can tell you guys the stories. Yeah, Wayne is talking about Patreon, and I will tell you, part of my New Year's resolution is to get on top of all these things. So Michelle has taken back to Los Angeles a big package. I signed a million things that we ordered, new guitar picks for everyone, and so everybody will be getting that soon. So, and I thank you. Okay, Mark Sanchez was there. It says the show was packed. That is an understatement. Lorraine was there. So the whiskey is an interesting place. I don't want to sound like I'm bad mouthing the whiskey, but it can be a stressful place. There is no gig quite like the whiskey. So, in order to discuss the whiskey, you need to talk to somebody who has sold out the whiskey. They can relate, and that is why let's welcome the first guest of 2024, Wednesday 13.
Woo! Number
How are you,
one.
Wednesday?
I'm good. How are you? Happy New Year.
Good. Happy New Year. Good to see you back.
Yeah, I'm back home. I'm off the road. Uh, which has only been it's weird. It's only been like 3 weeks since I've been off the road. It feels a little bit longer, but kind of not I don't know. Christmas kind of, you know, I don't know. I ever since then I've been trying to figure out what day it is. And then I realized today was Wednesday, which is my day. And then it was funny because you wrote me like, hey, you want to come on the show? And I was going to ask you the same thing. So here we are.
Do you feel like you've accomplished things since you've been home, or are you overwhelmed?
Oh man, I had to come home and start working on the Australia and Europe stuff before everybody went on holiday. Um, and it's not stuff that my management can handle. It's just a lot of little stuff. Like, I guess they could handle it, but it's just like passport stuff and just like personal, like gear. Cause as you know, like, I guess in Australia, we're doing kind of what you do with Steven. And we have rental gear for every show there. So it's just a lot of stuff that I have to answer questions and the merchandise and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of hands on with all that stuff. I like to be involved in it since I'm going to be there. And so, yeah, I got all that taken care of. I actually have like a dry erase board that I write notes on that I'm like, oh, I need to do this. And every week I kind of wipe it off. So now I'm down to this. Everything else is easy stuff like book rehearsal. Don't stress out is the only two things left on my list. And here I am.
Nice. Well, one of those sounds achievable.
Yes.
I hope the stress doesn't get so bad, though. Martha, you were there as well. Martha helped with the merchandise. We sold a lot of merchandise that night. So, Wednesday, for those of you who are new to the world of Wednesday 13, Wednesday was the singer for a band called the Murder Dolls. He's the only singer for a band called the Murder Dolls, and he is the only original member who's still out there. He's performing their music, the music of the Murder Dolls, music that he wrote with and Joey Jordison, original member of Slipknot. We should talk about Joey Jordison for a minute. I don't want to put you on the spot, but it
Mhm.
seems his family is upset with Slipknot. I could see a lot of reasons why they might be for other reasons, but they're mad that they're displaying Joey's memorabilia, maybe his drum kit or something, on this tour they're doing. They feel like they should get some money for it. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I I I saw the post on it, as you know, it's all in the news and everything, and I started to read it, and I just stopped, just because I try to stay out of that business with what's going on with them. I mean, I have friends, and the manager of Slipknot was Murder Doll's manager, so it's just a lot of stuff. Is a lot of people don't know how bands work and how things work, and I don't know if this headline's taken out of, I don't know enough about it to even comment on it.
Sure.
People were asking me about what I thought about their drummer getting or them getting rid of their drummer a month ago or something. Like I had some kind of thought
Right.
on it or something, but I mean, it's just like that band is, they're like Kiss, whether people want to admit it or not. They are a big machine, and it's bigger than any one member in that band. And they're going to keep doing stuff and keep moving on. And but what their legal stuff is, I have no idea. And just just to hear anyone arguing when someone's not even here anymore, like Joey, it sucks. You know what I mean? I'd rather not talk about it and not even hear about it, because it just, it sways the fans. It does. When they hear that kind of stuff, they get mad, especially the real passionate ones about it. They're like, oh, and they start taking sides, and then it's unfortunate it has to come out, and we're in that time of technology where everything is out there. Everybody knows everything sometimes before the people involved in it even know about it.
It's unfortunate. They say that death is for the living, and that's what happens. Joey's no longer here to defend what he thinks. I only know very little. I am not a Slipknot fan. I don't dislike it. It wasn't for me. It's not my age or time. But I prefer Kiss. But I feel like offering some tribute to Joey sounds like a nice thing. It sounds like a nice thing for their fans, and sounds like a nice thing to remember them. But again, I don't know the inner workings of it and what happens with money. I know that you're still in touch with his family as well,
Mm-hmm.
and they approve, obviously, of you playing the Murder Dolls music on tour.
It was really nice. When we went through Iowa on this last run, which is actually the last week of the tour, we went through Iowa, and his sisters were going to come out, and their husbands were sick, had COVID, or just getting over COVID. They didn't think they were going to make it out, but last minute, his sister Katie came out to the show, and I got to say hello to her after the show, and she brought me the I guess I want to say a gift bag, but the little thing they gave out at Joey's memorial service because I wasn't there. But so she gave me that. So that was a really cool thing to get. Because she'd been holding me, they've been holding one for me, I guess. But it was cool to finally get it and say hello to them. A lot of fans flew out to that show and went out and visited his gravesite. I mean, it's a lot of people. I mean, at least 10 or 15 people I know flew in from all different parts of the country to go there and do so. So it was a tribute. We had the tribute on our drum kit, but we weren't selling Murder Dolls merchandise or have anything like that up of Joey. I told a couple stories that involved all of us, and but I didn't make it a sad tribute or anything like that. But it definitely was, a tribute to him, and I think a lot of fans got closure with it, and I did as well. Or I'm coming to better terms with it, I guess.
Yeah, I can understand, and it was definitely a tasteful tribute. And I think that there's a lot of fans who maybe are younger who maybe know your solo music, and now this is their first time. Definitely the first time seeing Murder Dolls music live, because it hasn't been played live in quite some time.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. You're going to continue it. You're going to go off to Australia, as you mentioned.
Yes.
You're going to be. You're on tour with Cradle of Filth, right?
Yeah. We're going into some places, and like I can't even pronounce the first place that we're flying into. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. My hillbilly mind wants to read it as it is, and I don't believe it said the way I'm reading it. So, and the other places, I don't know. I'm like, is that abbreviations? Did they leave a vowel? Can I buy a vowel? Help me out. I don't know where we're going. But a lot of those, I know we're going into Finland, and I know Helsinki. That's really the only familiar place, in Budapest that I've been to before. But everything else, like we're in like Romania. The tour starts off in Poland, and I'm sure someone let's figure out this mystery. It's is it Dansk, Poland, but it starts with a G. Is the G silent?
All right. Well, I have
Let's
the
find
dates.
out.
I have the dates.
Oh, yeah, that's Australia first. I know those places.
Right.
I can say those places. Australia. I'm trying to say that better. Australia instead of Australia. It just doesn't sound good.
Right. After Australia, you're going to Poland.
Yes, but what is this place called? Is that Dansk?
We need someone who maybe is a little bit Polish. I mean, I think maybe one of these letters has got to be silent, right?
for me, I want to sing the Pink Panther theme. Get ants, get ants, get ants. You see what I'm saying? Like this is how
Mhm.
old school and I am. I don't know, but I booked the
Yeah.
flight in there, so
We're gonna call it Gdansk for now.
get ants, get
And then
ants.
from Gdansk, you're gonna go to, oh god.
Good. Oh, it says Gdansk. I was right. Or the D is silent. That doesn't make
So it's
sense.
Gansk.
Gdansk.
Is someone in the comments, saying this? Oh, the
Man,
D is silent. Good.
the
I
D
don't
is
know.
silent.
Well,
Oh, I switched
it's
my beverages this year. I went to Cherry Coke Zero in case anyone's asking it. Last time it was Diet, Dr. Pepper, cream soda. Now it's Cherry Coke.
Cherry Coke Zero is my favorite as well. Sometimes you can get a little vanilla thrown in the Cherry Coke Zero. That's a little
Oh,
crazy.
oh,
But look at
all
all
right.
these dates, and I wanna come see you play in Las Vegas. It is completely sold out. Uh,
Yes.
uh, you talk about places you can't pronounce. Look at the February 24th.
Oh my, let's see. February 24th. Yeah, what does that even mean?
I don't know.
Oh, it's hilarious. And I guess I'm talking to the audience in between songs. So I don't really know if they'll understand what I'm saying, but I'm going to say some stuff. I'll do my research. I'll Google the places. I did that
Yeah.
on the last tour. I was looking up some places just because I don't know much about it other than a movie or something. So I'll look up some stuff and see what I find out. But
People talk about my tour diaries. I go to Ohio, you
right.
go to some exotic
This
locations.
would this would be really cool. I'm really curious to see some of these places just because I think it's the first time for Cradle of Filth going into some of these places too. And I don't know if your audience is familiar with them as well, but they're the band known for their famous shirt "Jesus is a cunt."
Mm, I th
It's very, very, very popular in the UK. It caused quite a stir. I guess it's a famous shirt,
Do you
and
think YouTube would be mad about that? I don't know, maybe not.
I don't know. I hope not.
I hope not.
But it's a famous shirt from them, and I think they're going to some places that I'm just curious how the religious aspect are of some of these places. Because like Manson and when he was still playing, he still had religious people coming to the shows and protesting, and these guys are definitely have walked that devil road before.
Mhm.
They were supposed to start their tour in Israel before the war started, so I was curious how that would even be there. But yeah, we're traveling with them, and yeah, so I guess whatever stuff they run into, we're gonna find out. So I don't know. I hope they're not mad. Maybe they might think I'm him. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or vice versa. Maybe they could get mad at me and I could blame it on him and we could just we got the black hair. We could, we'll see what
mhm.
happens. The old
Yeah,
switch roof.
it sounds stressful to me, but this is what you do. You have to get out there and spread the music and spread the word, and people are excited. So Wednesday, last we spoke was Christmas. You got back from the road. You came on the Christmas show that we did, which was a little bit ridiculous. I know that Christmas is over, but for
Yes.
anyone watching, if you haven't seen the Christmas special, part three, third annual, boy, did we have an interesting time. Stephen Piercy had technical issues. Carlos Cavazzo had technical issues. It ended up being a conversation, a roundtable with me, Sean Clark, of this channel Malfunction, Horrors Hall of Grounds, and Wednesday, and Matt Thorne. Matt had no idea what we're talking about as we all
No.
showed off our HR Puff and Stuff toy collection. What amazing that three grown men all happen to have one.
Yeah.
And I don't think Sean is watching, but if he is, he's invited to come in. He can tell you because he was at the Stephen Piercy show. So if anyone sees Sean in the comments, send him our direction. Yes, that special was 4 hours. Very passionate about Wednesday, and Wednesday and I were introduced by Stevie Rochelle. Yeah, Stevie Rochelle of Metal Sludge and the band Tough. He
Hmm.
said, "You guys are really going to hit it off and laugh at the same things and blah blah blah." And he was correct.
Yeah,
And so I'm thankful for Stevie for introducing us. But what has been great for my channel is that Wednesday's audience is different than the regular audience that we have, and I think that some of my audience has also gone to check out Wednesday, which is
yeah,
great.
definitely.
It's great to mix the two worlds. I get people all the time. Thank you for turning me on to Wednesday's music, and some of these times it's people that I wouldn't expect to get it or like it, but they're passionate. And I mean, people of all ages. So that is a good thing. And as I said, I don't see the crazy kids here, but the last few weeks we had a lot of young people just uh, 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 filling the chat, spamming the chat. They love Wednesday. They were so eager. Here you are, and
I'm reading the comments as well. That's why I'm looking slightly to the left, like in those old '80s photos. People just looking slightly, you know.
that's last week we chatted up a guy. He claims to be a guy. You can identify however you like. A Drizzler, and Drizzler
Oh
said he
yes,
was.
I watched the show. I saw you talking about him.
Yeah, Drizzler claims to be 13. His sister was here. I forget her name, but she claimed to be 16. And then we decided to ask if their mother was a hot.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, the sister said she was. But that's what happens when you're not around. Things get out of hand. So the whiskey a go go. This was I was there. Feels
hmm
like yesterday. I think it was Friday, and December 29th, a while ago now. And I had an all-star cast of characters coming out Wednesday. You were at the top of my list of all-star characters.
I know. I'm sorry I missed the show. I did watch your footage. I have watched some YouTube footage of other people at the show, so I saw some stuff. So I kind of feel like I was there, and I know the whiskey so well. Like I even feel like I know like tape marks on the stage. Like that's how you know what I mean. Like I know it that way. I know how it smells. I it's I know it very well. It's crazy how that's become like my hometown uh place, you know, but I love it there. It's a great show, but a sold out show can be stressful for a band playing it if you care. Uh and it could be stressful watching a show there when it's slam packed and it's New Year's weekend, and I'm sure just that people are, it's just so yes, I know all versions of it, but I wasn't there, but I feel like I was.
No one who lives in California wants to drive into Hollywood,
No,
especially on a weekend like that. That
no.
is stressful. Parking is stressful. And the whiskey is a stressful place. I've gone through times in my life where I said I will never go there again. Even though it's a legendary venue, it's not the best built venue. A lot of places where you would have a view of the stage, you will have a big speaker in your face. That's if you're upstairs.
Right.
Then downstairs, you have to get into the carpeted area. You have to leave walkways open. You can't stand here. You can't stand there. And it can get very crowded and very stressful. And if you're someone that people recognize, and Wednesday, a lot of people do recognize you, it can be overwhelming. Not to say that, I think this is the sister, not to say that you're ungrateful, but
Right.
it could be stressful trying to talk to that many people and trying to find a spot. When you and I went to see Donnie V there, it was a much quieter evening.
Yeah, that was odd. It was like oddly, it was like a private show almost. That's very rare. But yeah, and it's also those kind of things where um, you know, uh I don't really myself, I don't like to go to shows and that people and when people recognize me, I'm not saying I don't like that. I'm very flattered when people recognize me, but I always feel goofy because sometimes people recognize me and they'll start taking pictures, and then like the show will start and I get all nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I'm standing here in front of their merch taking pictures and the band's playing. I'm being that guy. I'm being an asshole. And it just, and I, that's just the way my brain starts working. So, and I get social anxiety and I feel like I'm going to someone's show and trying to showboat, even though I'm not, but it looks like it. And this is just what goes on inside of this hat.
I completely get it. Now, someone said the security guards are asses at the whiskey. Normally, that's true, but I will tell you that they were all very good this time. Not quite as aggressive. They were easier on the cavity searches, and we did an interesting thing at this show. Something that we haven't. Martha says, "Thanks to you, she's got the Benson theme stuck in his head." Wednesday
Yeah.
wrote a song in the vein of the Benson theme by accident.
I'm
Um,
working on it. I've been working on it the last 2 days. I believe it's going to happen. Then I realized after I started playing it, this isn't the first time I've taken that. It's almost another song I did before. So guess the joke's on me. I'm gonna do it again though.
we're going to
Slow
shoot
it
the
down.
video. We're
Yeah.
going to shoot a video at the Benson, at the governor's mansion,
Yeah. Why not?
whether they allow it or not. So anyway, the whiskey is always it's a little chaotic and things are run differently. Whereas when you're on the road, I prefer to be on Ohio. I prefer to be in the middle of nowhere. Things are run differently. You don't have a million people who need to be on the guest list. You don't have to get from the dressing room. So the whiskey,
Yeah.
the dressing rooms are upstairs. You have to come down, and then to get to the stage, you have to go down. I must have went up and down those steps 4,000 times, and it gets crazy. Then the amount of bands that are opening, 7
Oh,
bands, and that's a lot of bands. So, and I'll get to. There's a lot of questions for Wednesday after we tell this story. We'll get to some questions for Wednesday. Um, but so yeah, 7 bands. So what we did is we made sure that at 10 p.m. they cleared the entire floor out, so none of the other bands were up there. It's not a disrespect to them, but you can't get anything done when there's a people hanging out.
yeah.
So that worked for us. So we had the first room for sort of guests of ours and things, and then Stephen took the second room, the black room. Supposedly Jim Morrison used to like that room, and then the regular room overlooking Clark, the Motley Crue house. The band was in there, but it turns out, people are just everywhere. And when you're at a show and you normally think, well, I'll just get ready and take it easy. It's not at the whiskey you won't. And
Mhm.
so it was difficult. And then even selling merch, you couldn't get to the merch table because it's by a bar and there's a million people, and it can be crazy. Let me just take a look at this super chat real quick. This is from AZ. Show on Friday was phenomenal. The whole band was 100% on point. Thanks for giving me the pound at the door too. Nice. Well, thank you, AZ. I wish we would have had more time to talk. I thought I would be able to talk to everybody Wednesday. I did my own meet and greet before the show,
Right.
not intentionally, but I sat by the merch, and people bring gifts. People are so great, and I went home with all kinds of cool stuff, Christmas vacation ornaments, and Universal Monster lottery tickets, and
The
someone
horse.
brought yeah, someone brought a Sergeant Kabuki Man thing for me to sign from my days at Troma, but unfortunately, I missed the person. I love to sit and talk about Troma, but so it was crazy. And then you see, Wednesday, you said you don't want to be the jerk who's kind of look at me, but
Right.
if you're in Hollywood, there was a lot of them. And I'm
Yeah,
not going
yeah.
to say the names of those types here, but some of them we saw at the Donnie V show. But anyway, everyone's trying to have a good time, but some people want to be seen more than see. Uh, um, I don't know if Sean is here, but Sean came and he was looking forward to seeing it. But Sean lives in Orange County, and it's a bit of a commute, but he did make the commute, and we're gonna do. We have some projects with him. I will say the next day he invited myself and yourself to his palatial estate to see the collection, which we've been waiting for quite
Yeah.
some time. I had to fly back when I next time there. We're going to make a pilgrimage to see the Sean Clark collection. He told me the day that he invited us, he was buying a screen used Freddy Krueger glove. So
Oh, wow. He's
it
got
was
so much cool stuff. The 2 things uh, well, I'm sure we're gonna see it. The Poltergeist clown, that's number 1 that I wanna see and just and get the mojo from it. And he's got a ton of video games, it looks like, but that new Halloween pinball machine looks
yes.
insane. It looks so cool. So, yeah,
Did you
that's
see
another
the
thing I own.
pictures from his Christmas party?
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, where'd he go? Oh, that's his house." Okay. Yes.
He had
Again, he's just, I mean, he's the man, and he knows everything about it too. Like, it's not just a guy that's like, oh, that guy's got some stuff. No, he's got it, and he can tell you every detail about it. It's insane. So it's well deserved that he's got all that stuff, and it's cool to see. I mean, it makes my collection just look like it's. I just want to put some
Oh, me too. Yeah. Oh, no.
newspaper over.
He had Boy with Pumpkin and everyone else at that party. I saw it.
Yeah.
Michael Myers, age 6, and PJ Souls was there, and the screencast was there, and he's Sean Clark is a big shot, which is a good thing
Yeah.
because he hasn't worn a pair of long pants probably in 20 years, and
That's
so it's
right. He
nice.
doesn't wear pants. He wears shorts.
No pants.
Which is
And
odd because I don't even think I have shorts, really. That I
I
wear.
don't think you do
I
either.
have like around the house stuff, but like I don't have any man shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angie says that our collection is just fine. I don't know if she's been to your place, or mine, but when I'm out, but there's some okay stuff here. But I'm not. I don't know. Listen, I don't know if Sean was saying that we could also record our visit to his collection. I've
Right.
seen other people do it. Maybe he would allow that. I hate to be that
We
jerk. I'll tell you,
We could broadcast live from there.
that would be nice. I went to Lemmy's house. This is name dropping, but
Mhm.
it's a worthwhile story. I co-wrote a movie called Tromeo and Juliet. I wrote a draft of it. James Gunn, I told the story, went on to finish it. And we were promoting the movie. It's in Santa Monica, and Lemmy didn't drive, much like myself. And my friend had to drive him home. And when we got to his house, he said, would you boys like to come in? Of course we did. And it looked like Melrose Place. It was one of those little apartment complexes with a pool in the middle.
Mhm.
Nothing fancy, but it was walking distance to the rainbow.
Mhm.
And we went in the house, and the first thing I saw was a gigantic swastika on a red flag over his couch. And then on the couch was a African American woman sleeping, and it was a surreal image for me. Now,
That's like a painting,
Lemmy was not.
like a painting almost.
Yeah, yeah. Lemmy was
Maybe
not
you
a.
a plane, like on airplane when Lloyd Bridges is there and he's smoking, but there's a photo behind him smoking.
It was a lot like, yes. Lemmy was not an N word, a racist, but he
Right.
was. You got to be careful with YouTube. But he did collect war memorabilia, and I just said to him at one point, "You mind if I take some pictures?" And he was fine with it. We a collection like that. He showed me all the autographs that he got from the Fuhrer, that Ozzy Osbourne gave him for Christmas. Crazy stuff. And so it was a pretty interesting experience. And then even Sebastian Bach, I went to Sebastian Bach's house, and
Mhm.
I'm like, I got to take pictures of some of this stuff.
Yeah. The other person that Marilyn Manson's house, his collectibles, when he's got some insane stuff. It's
Hmm.
I mean, he's got like original Gacy paintings, like because I had some of those paintings years ago, so I learned a lot about serial killer stuff and the paintings and stuff. And he's got like an original Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, like painted, like he's got the real deal stuff. And I think he's got like a
Yeah.
mummy. He's got like a mummy of a child somewhere in there in his house too, I believe. I think that's public knowledge. So it's not like a hidden thing I found or something.
Yeah. I don't think he would be, I think he's open about
Yes. Yeah, I think one of his band members, ex guys, got mad because he spent money on a mummy instead of paying him or something like that, which was probably the most ridiculous article I ever read. But hey, it happened.
These things happen. So anyway, but hopefully Sean will still allow us to visit the collection, and it'd be great. And then hopefully maybe we'll all be at that Mad Monster convention in
Yeah,
Arizona. Um, as
that
of
would be
now,
cool.
we're all free, Stephen Piercy included. So Sean will come back and talk about that and promote it. But anyway, so back to
The whiskey, yes.
but the whiskey, it was insane, and this undertaking of the Out of the Cellar album was a lot of work, and then there was a lot of changing of the set list back and forth with Steven to try to. He has a lot of ideas of what he wants to do. He took this very serious, more serious than I've seen about anything in a long time. He was a
Set
little
lists are
stressed.
a big deal. People don't realize that, especially if you're the vocalist and like I'm crazy about set lists. Like I think about it for like a long time and just changing stuff around. And I'm sure it's probably a similar thing because I know you were talking about what isn't Round and Round the third song on the
Yeah.
album. So you can't just come right out and play that. Even if it is the third song, you just gave it out, So even though that's played in it, you got to figure out. And it looks like he did move it back some, but still, little things like that mean a lot, Like if you went and saw, and I always use Kiss as an example. If you went and saw Kiss and they started off with Beth, you'd be like, what are you doing? It means, set lists are a big deal. And like, for me, they got to be like a roller coaster ride. I like the ups and downs. I like, some fast ones, maybe throw a slow one in, but it's super important. It's like a movie. You want to take people on a ride and spit them out at the end and make them feel good about it. You just don't want to drag them down. So sorry to interrupt, but I'm just saying a set list
It's
a big deal,
For years, he played the same set list because it is very difficult. RATT's set list is a greatest hits. Their greatest hits record is a set list. So for a long time, it was hard to figure out what do you get rid of to add something. And we had to take a lot of hits out of this show to do the Out of the Cellar record. He ended it up. He wanted to do some EP songs first. So he opened with Sweet Cheater, and then he did You Think You're Tough. And then Nobody Rides for Free off the Point Break soundtrack. People really seem to like that song, so he wanted to do that one. We put that one in. And then started the Out of the Cellar record. I think it went very well. And then after that, we were going to do You're in Love and then Lay It Down. But Whit Hertford was my guest at the show, the kid from the Lay It Down video.
Mm-hmm.
And what a great moment it was to have him there. He hasn't seen Steven since they made that video in 1985.
Weird.
And so he texted me and I said, let me know where you are and I'll come find you. I don't know what he looks like other than on this screen. When a lot of people meet me in person, they say, I had no idea how tall you were because all they know is this shot that they have.
Right.
So I knew what the kid's eyes looked like. I'm calling him a kid. He's probably older than me. But I could tell by his eyes, I knew what he looked like. And then when I went to look for him, I realized that he's he's a smaller guy in stature.
It's like Danny DeVito on Taxi when you first saw him.
The very Danny DeVito on Taxi. It's one of the reasons he played a young person for so long. I'm thinking, and he has these eyes, that pop out of his head. Like, here's some of your fans. Let me show you Wednesday.
Yeah, I see. I'm reading the comments. Oh, droopy
this
eyes.
Is Drizzler 404.
That's emojis typed out. Droopy eyes, red face. I don't know.
At some point, I have to warn them with peace and love that we're going to put them in timeout if they drive everybody crazy.
Yeah, but be cool. I read all you guys. Someone wants to know why I wear the same pants. The same person is just very like I read you, and yes, I am wearing the same pants because they fit. That's just code.
And we're going to get to some of these.
I see everybody. I appreciate everybody saying hello and being cool, and even the weird people.
That's all right. Listen, your career is based on weird people. Mine as well. Yeah. Mine as well. So Whit came on stage and I introduced him and he talked a little bit about Lay It Down. And so you had to play Lay It Down at that point, which they did. And then it was You're in Love. And then the idea was to do this jam of Walking the Dog. It got a little messy. Carlos didn't bring a guitar.
Oh.
And so Eric has two guitars, but one of them is in drop D. Johnny could have played the guitar in drop D. He could have transposed and done it. So what I was trying to suggest, and Johnny was too, Johnny said, I'll just give Carlos my guitar. and then Johnny could have played that guitar, but Eric gave him his main guitar, and then Eric decided to stay on stage and sing and dance.
I saw that. That was odd looking.
It was
He
very
was like,
odd looking.
you know, especially if no one knows what's going on, just watching a YouTube video, you're like, who's that guy? Get out of
Somebody
there.
made a video
I saw
of him, and
I
they
saw it.
sent it to me. It's to the song "Raining Men," and he's kind of doing this dance while "It's Raining Men" is playing. The fans are very creative. Uh,
Oh, the
Look,
internet wins sometimes.
I've worked with bands where people come up to jam, and most people are humble, and it's fine. Step aside, let someone. Who cares? None of this shit. Rock and roll really isn't that important at the end of the day. Have a good time all the time, right?
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't like doing jams. And I live here, you know, in LA, so it's like, you know, and when I first moved here, I used to go to the Whiskey and the Rainbow and Roxy when they had shows all the time. And you know, they had those jam things every week. They were popular, you know. I mean,
Yeah, I hate all that stuff. That I don't like.
that's where I met my drummer. I did one jam and that was it. And so I did get something out of it, but I see a lot of people doing it, and I just don't. I'm not comfortable with outside of my guys, you know, just jumping up and doing stuff. I just People think maybe that is easy for some people, and some people like to do it. I don't like doing it. If it makes sense, someone invited me to do it a while ago, and I went up and did a Wasp song, and my drummer now happened to be, you know, there. So like I said, something good came out of it. But I don't get these jams because I've seen these train wrecks.
Right.
I've seen them worse, way worse. I've seen some horrible stuff, and I don't want to be a part of it because the internet is cruel.
Yes. Well, listen, they do this. In 2007, I put together this band called Sin City Sinners, and the gimmick was we had really talented guys, but we would bring a special guest in every week and learn the songs of that guest. And sometimes it would be Steve Sex Summers from Pretty Boy Floyd, and sometimes it would be George Lynch, and sometimes it would be Lemmy, and sometimes Sebastian Bach, and it was crazy. And sometimes the guys from Trickster or some of the smaller bands were actually more fun because at that point you weren't seeing a lot of these people. But every week, without a fail, Jeff LeBar from Cinderella, there'd be somebody there. We had a great singer, a guy named Todd Kearns. He's in Slash's band now. He could sing anything, anytime. He could play guitar and bass. Brent Muscat from Faster Pussycat. We had a good band, and so they would learn the songs, but we would pay the artists, to come and do this. And George Lynch told me, he goes, I don't go to these jam nights. If you're not going to pay me, what's the point? Because you're getting paid. He makes the point. And I say this about charity events. I've done a lot of charity events, raised $1 million for various charities. But if the bar is going to make money and they're charging money at the door, then the band's going to get paid. If you give up your part of it, then I'll give up our part of it too, towards a cause. So these jam nights, they make these bands feel like, oh, you're a big shot, and then someone makes money. But the people that they advertise, the names are ridiculous. This whiskey jam, and I've had some of these people on. So
the Ultimate Jam, is that what you're talking about?
Ultimate Jam.
Yeah, well, that used to be. I think that was over at Lucky Strike for a while because that's where I did it at. I mean, I believe that's where. Wasn't one of those things like no, that was the dime bash thing, but it was similar to that thing too. That was like a jam thing too. So but yeah, like what you're saying, but at the Whiskey they do a thing like every Tuesday or Monday, and it's a Ultimate Jam, and it's just like, I think I saw one today. It's like I think it's a Bowie tribute. I don't know who's going to be on that.
You couldn't pay me to go to that shit. When I think of Bowie, I don't think of like LA's, there's one guy they always advertise, and I apologize if he's watching, but he's in Avril Lavigne's band. Who cares? You know what I mean? If you're not Avril Lavigne, who cares?
I saw the guy from Sweet advertise, and I got excited because I love them. I think they're one of the best of that era.
Incredible.
And I just see the band. I'm like, who's that guy? That's what?
The Suite is a
So
complete joke, and there's one member of the Suite who's alive. His name is Andy Scott. He lives in
mhm,
England, and he is
yeah.
allowed to do it out there. He tours with one of the guys from Slade and Susie Quattro. What a great show! But
And he
here
wears,
in
he wears a
America,
big wig too, right?
what is it?
He wears a wig too, right?
I'm probably,
I think he
I
does.
would
I think
think,
I saw a video of him like wearing some crazy looking like white wig. So
yeah.
it's
Well, it happens. It happens.
yeah.
But this Suite here in America, after Steve Priest died, there's a bunch of guys just playing sweet music. Wow, how the hell can you advertise that
It's
or
insane. Insane
sell
to me.
that?
I don't know. I don't know if the guy's good. It's just weird to me. But I saw him advertised on those things. But they get everyone from whoever. It's usually somebody from Bullet Boys or
Yeah, but it's not even the main Bullet Boy. Oh, I mean, he was
yeah,
at the whiskey and did get up and sang and dance with Steven.
he's a
Um,
dancer.
yeah, he's a kisser and a hugger and a lover
Yeah,
too. I like the guy, by the way. I don't want to make it sound like I don't like
yeah.
him. I like Mark, but these jams is just everybody who wants to be seen. These are people that you don't want to be in an elevator with, more in a rock club where everyone telling you how great they are and everyone's looking for a gig. If you got all the time to jam, it's probably because you don't have a gig. And no offense, but I'm not a big fan of these look at me
Mhm.
parties and David Bowie. Oh, Jesus, I don't need it. I'm good. I listen to David Bowie at home, and I don't even do that. But I certainly don't need to go to like. And it's always a theme, and then it's people who don't know anything about that music, and I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble. But I just don't. I don't get that, and I don't get Steel Panther. I don't get
Mhm.
that either.
Yeah, someone asked if I seen them. I used to go see them when they were, what were they before that?
Metal
Metal
School.
Shop,
Yeah.
Metal School, I believe. Used to see them at the Viper every time I was in LA. Um, they were always fun. But it's like after a while, it's like it's that trick that they've got one trick, and it just kind of I've seen it a million times. I'm not saying it's bad. It just
I'm
got
with
old.
you.
They just got old to me. Um, but they're good at it. They're still funny. They still make me laugh. But when I see interviews and stuff,
I
they're still pretty funny. They're witty.
I'm with you. When we used to play in Vegas, one night would be Sinners, one night would be Panther, and it'd switch. I've seen them a million times. I thought it was funnier when they just did the covers and then they talked in between while they were setting up the tracks, and I thought that was fine. And I
Yeah,
thought some of the jokes were really racy and kind of crazy. Now there's all these young chicks who take it serious. They think this is a real band. First of
yeah.
all,
That's the weird thing. Now it's
yeah,
become like a real thing, and that was the beauty of it, was going to see it and watching. Like I remember seeing them. I don't know if they still do this trick anymore, but at Viper Room, there used to be a part of the show where Michael and Satchel would get in a fight, and he's like, "Well, I'm quitting the band," and he'd start wrapping up his chord, and they'd play a whole song without him, and then he'd come back, and like it was just fun, and but they were playing other songs that you knew, and it was just I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I don't know, they started doing their own music, which I liked for a while too. It just got
how
old to me.
many of those jokes can you make though? I liked it
I
too.
don't
Okay,
know, but
Snack
they did a
Girls,
lot.
I get it. That's funny, or you know, community property. But after two or three records, I'm not knocking these guys. I guess
Yeah,
I get that they're trying to make a living, and I know that Russ Parrish is a great guitar player, but most of the shit on that stage is not live. A lot of times, including the vocals. And so, but that's okay. I always tell people it's a comedy show, much more than it
it
is
is. It is,
a
and
rock
that's
show.
the way to enjoy it, is to look at it as a comedy show, and that's when people started looking at it as other than that. I think that's kind of just took the fun out of it. I don't know. I wish I wasn't like that. I wish when something gets really big, I could still be into it, but it kind of it sucks sometimes, because that's why when we first started doing when we first met, I was talking about all the bands that you interview on here. That's what I liked about those bands, because I could go see them in a venue, and it was small, and no one knew about them, and I could wear even a Bullet Boy. I could wear a Bullet Boy shirt. No one knew who the hell they were. They were, but yeah, it sucks when stuff gets a little popular and it just kind of weighs it out. And I think that probably happened with Steel Panther, at least for me. And plus being here in LA when they played every single Monday night, and I don't know how many shows I've seen of them.
That metal guy says Steel Panther lets fans play on stage, but I don't like the girls on stage. I don't like any of it. It's all stupid. You get all these girls on stage. They're making fun of those girls. They're not. They think, look at me. They're being laughed at. But I mean, listen. It's like you said. It's funny. Once I ran into Ralph. Ralph is Michael's star. Ralph was in LA Guns at one point.
Yeah.
Record called Wasted.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, and I was with Eddie Trunk, and we were talking. And then when Ralph walked away, I said to Eddie Trunk, "Would you ever have that guy on your show?" And he said, "No, not in character." He said, "I would interview him." And that's what I said. I can't sit around here and talk to somebody telling me doing comedy. I'm just not. I got Johnny Monaco if I want someone who's funny. I don't need.
It would be like if because his persona, it would be like if you got Sean Penn, but he was talking like Jeff Spicoli the whole time. It'd be cool. Yes. But it's not really him. You're like, what's going on? So
yeah, it would be dumb to me. And hey, listen, I don't mean to sound bitter, and I'm glad that I get it. They're making a living. Why not? Let's see what were any former members of RATT invited but didn't show up. Mark Sanchez with the $4.99 question. Bobby Blotzer was invited. Bobby Blotzer was on the guest list. I wanted him to come. He did not show up. I would have liked it. Putting it out there right now, and I don't get along with him. I will say this, though. I don't care. Like, I have no hard feelings anymore. I don't care. If you don't grow in life, then you're doing it wrong. At some point, you have to stop caring. He has nothing to do with my life anymore or anything else. He's the original drummer for RATT. He's a part of those songs. It would have been great to have him play some of them. Robbie Crane was invited. I think he was just busy. He's not an original member of RATT.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Stephen put the word out to Warren. I wasn't expecting to see him, but he was not there. And Juan and Stephen are not on the best of terms. And so I knew that he wouldn't be there. It would have been nice for Blotzer to show up. There was some other things planned that at the last second just didn't happen. Is there somebody named Onyx that everyone's going crazy about? I don't really see it.
I saw them earlier. They were like, pay attention to me, notice me.
Yeah. My friend Jay is here, and he might have put them in a timeout already. So Jay is the mod this evening. Here's a question for Wednesday. It's from Onyx, no less. So all right.
Maybe that's why I've seen that question keep popping up.
Wednesday 13. Is it true that back in your days you were in a band called Silly Scream before the Frankenstein drag queens from Planet 13?
I played guitar in a band called Silly Scream at a show and rehearsed with them up to that. But they put a CD out before I was ever involved in it. And literally, I wasn't really involved in much with it. It was that was sort of a band for me to test out my guitar playing before I did Frankenstein drag queens. So yes, that is true. Onyx.
Right, Onyx. You're up on your history. So wrapping up on the whiskey, a lot of people were a little crowded, a little claustrophobic. It was a little bit crazy, but it was exciting.
There's no backstage on the stage. There's a backstage upstairs.
Well, I sat on the steps. That's kind of my spot with the kid from the kid who's older than me from the Lay It Down video. So
I make my own smoking room there. I've been doing it for years. I've even I think you can see in the ceiling where I've kind of tore up the ceiling a bit. I hang sheets and I make a full blackout in that top part of the stairway all the way around.
Smart.
So even if there's people there hanging out, which they are, they got to like creep around the corner. So I even did it this last time. I did it better than I've ever did. I had it fully blacked out, and I actually had like a little kind of backstage area. So there are ways to kind of separate the madness there. But you're right. The steps is the place to go. But then you're in all the videos everyone takes, and everyone goes, "Who's that guy?" And they
A
want to know.
little bit, but it was at an angle enough where I don't think people really saw me. Question is, what is the backstory behind my stage theatrics with the rejects with the blood and stuff? I'll answer that quick because I shared a photo on Instagram from some of our shows. I wanted to do a band that was sort of like a tribute to the punk bands that most young people didn't get to see. So the blood and stuff that I would do comes from Iggy Pop, and then it comes from Sid Vicious. There's a famous show where he wrote "Give Me a Fix" on his chest in blood, and he hit someone in the front row with his bass. And it was at a place called the Longhorn. Still there. We got to visit that place sometime. They booked the Sex Pistols purposely in places where they wouldn't fit. It was a cowboy bar, and they did not go over, and it was really insane. And these are the stories. It sounds like you're making them up. But if
You
you
can
ever
watch
get
videos of this. You can watch. There's footage of all this stuff. You can see
that
it.
whole show is online, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I thankfully, and so I thought I would do something fun, and a lot of younger people, and I was in shape. I weighed 140 pounds, and I thought I'm going to take off as much of my clothes as possible and cover myself in blood and try to get some shock value out of it. Sometimes it worked, and sometimes it didn't. Sometimes it went right over people's heads, but I did it regardless, and it was sort of fun. That band, Sin City Rejects, now that it's sort of not doing anything, looking back, I'm kind of impressed at how many gigs we played and how ridiculous it is. But we'd go play the dirtiest punk bars you can think of, and then I would look around and go, these people don't get it. I try to do this thing called Punk's Greatest Hits, and we played all my favorite punk bands, which is mostly East Coast, but we
Mhm.
mixed up a little of everything. The audience just didn't get it. And then I would go, let me guess, you guys want to hear Jesse's Girl. And we would play stuff like that. And boy, would it go over. So I don't know. Maybe we were too punk for the moment, but that's that. Wednesday, I got to talk to you privately about merchandise. You have the
Yeah.
best merchandise,
Thank
and
you.
these people that watch this show are so nice. They say things about how I'm 1,000 times more interesting than any trunk, and I would agree. But he didn't show up, by the way, for the whiskey. He was supposed to be there, but he something came up. But I got to talk to you because I got to. You have the best merchandise, and people can
Mhm.
go to officialwednesday13.com and check out his. But I want to have something for the people because they keep asking me, and I
Yes.
see they love it. And I'm so behind on it. I should have had it for Christmas, but someone Chimney maybe would like to give you their whole wallet.
Yes. I have a ton of merch. There's a link on my site. I just put a bunch of stuff out last Friday. There were some tour designs that we put up on the page. Like I'm trying to find the photos here. But yeah, it's just like there's like you can't. There's a reflection there. Either way, there's hoodies, there's coffee mugs. There's so much stuff. We put out stuff almost every holiday, and then stuff in between. But there's so much cool stuff. We even have like the collectible glasses, like the old '80s, like Empire Strikes Back looking stuff from Burger
Oh, I
King.
love it.
So there's tons of merchandise. So if it can be made, I will try to make it. I love Kiss in that aspect. They just made everything. So I'm like, why not?
Well, I'm going to talk to you about it because
I'll, I'll
I
guide you
thought,
in the right way.
yeah, I thought for being a jackass who just tells dick jokes on here, who's going to really need my merchandise? But it's been coming up so often, and it's nice. And it's nice that when I go to these shows in different cities, people bring me merchandise. That reminds me, Wednesday, I got to show
Mhm.
you some of the stuff that people brought me. I'm going to put you on a solo screen for 1 second.
All right.
And I know this is putting you on the spot,
It's
uh,
all right.
uh,
I'm prepared for it.
and you can talk to some of these people while I show you some of the lovely gifts I got.
All right.
Some
I'll
involve
I'll
you.
read I'll read some of these questions over here and
All right, I'm back.
see what's happening. Uh, how much more involved are you in the business merch side of music since the explosion of the internet? I'm 100% involved. I work with my artists, and this guy named Johnny Bush from the UK has been my guy I've been using for the past couple of years since COVID, and he's a fan of the band, so he knows a lot of stuff. So when I go, hey, I want to do something off this record or whatever, he just zones into it and does it better than someone I have to try to explain it to. But I've just always been involved in the merchandise. I love seeing merchandise. But yeah, that's yes, 100% involved in all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's and you and I both collect so much merchandise, so you want to have stuff that you
Yeah.
like. Okay, so uh, I wish I could remember everyone's names who gave me things. The problem with this is that a lot of people go by their screen name, and then
Mhm.
it's hard for me to remember the screen name and the real name, and then the Patreon name. But this is a Jean Beauvoir shirt. Feel the
Okay.
Heat dance mix from the Cobra soundtrack.
Oh yeah. Wow.
And, Jean Beauvoir was in the Plasmatics. He's been on the show. I promoted his book, so that was cool. Then somebody came up with this shirt. They made this. This is a Sin City Reject shirt.
Oh
I'm
wow.
the tall one, and it's interesting though because then the back is this picture of me reading Bass Player magazine
Oh
backstage. But I think that they probably should have just put one image. The back might be too much, but who am I to complain
yeah.
at free bootleg merchandise? And then this is another since this was taken at the Mob Museum here in Las Vegas. It was a courthouse originally, and on the back of my record, we took a picture up against the St. Valentine's Day Massacre wall. We just kind of went in and stole the photo. It's behind a screen, and every 15 minutes the screen raises. They reassembled all the bricks. The bullet holes are in it,
Oh
and
wow.
we did like a lineup, like we were being shot in front of that wall. And then this a picture as well. So that was very nice. And then a lot of people who watched the show were looking for Wednesday 13,
Uh-huh.
and there was people wearing Wednesday T-shirts, and then there was people who brought their own
Yeah.
bootleg Wednesday 13
A new
merchandise.
photo. Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
even have that on a shirt yet.
I like that
But,
one. And then on the back, it's a little bit of the who's who
oh
of
yeah.
the Wednesday 13 lineups.
Oh wow. That's like how many members are there? That's like so yeah, that's
Well, this is
Murder
your
Doll.
solo band on top, right?
Yes, and then in the middle, that would be the second or third incarnation of Wednesday 13, and then the bottom would be Murder Dolls,
Right, murder.
the original touring lineup of that. Uh, so yeah, that's weird. I have a Kiss shirt that's like that. The front is like the solo album covers, and the back has a photo of them with Eric Carr in makeup, and I'm like,
Mhm.
what's happening here? But I like it.
Yeah, well, when I see you, that'll go to you.
All right.
Uh, uh, People are very nice. I appreciate all the bootlegging and people giving me all kinds of. It wasn't just that they watch the show and they're so nice.
Yeah,
Blah, blah, blah.
fans are great. They bring some really cool stuff. I got a ton of stuff off the tour. I've already put most stuff away. I rearranged my this part of my room here. I'm about to start on my GI Joe He-Man room, which is I love it, but it's just so much work, and it's like stacking up dominoes. Sometimes if they fall, it's just like, and then I had to buy a little foot stand for all these figures, and it's just story of my life here. And I've noticed now I can't see as well, so I can't see the little toy. All the little they're so tiny,
Mhm.
But
I got this for Christmas. This came from
whoa,
Michelle,
I
and
don't have that yet.
even though Dracula is in the public domain, if you made him look like this, you you would be sued. But
Yeah.
there he is. Very cool Bela Lugosi likeness. I only collect Dracula stuff that has Bela Lugosi's likeness. Um,
Yeah. Well, it's weird because like you couldn't get his likeness until like 95. I
right.
believe the first figure came out. Before that, it's just, I think we may have talked about this before, but it kind of looks like just your stock version of whatever Dracula. Then they made a bunch of Universal stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have the original sideshow ones, but they're very valuable.
Oh
Those
yeah, I've got a Lugosi and I've got a Lugosi one from like the late '90s, and I've got a Dwight Fry.
yeah,
Uh,
those are good.
yeah, so those are some cool ones.
Eric had a question. I'd like to get to everybody, especially people who are channel members. Wednesday, do you have any Murder Dolls merch up on your site? And so you can answer that.
I do not, but I have everything else. I have Wednesday 13, Frankenstein Drag Queens, and the tour I've been doing because we're not touring as Murder Dolls. I didn't want to take that name. I said before, like touring without Joey is just not, it's not Murder Dolls. So, but we do have some merchandise that are likeness to the songs, and like if you know the music and know that you'll understand the merchandise. But to
I
go
love
out,
to say, fuck umbrellas are in stock.
well, they're not. They're actually. I
Oh,
thought they were going to be on the store when last time I talked to you, but they are in the works. It's just a shipping thing on it. We got to work out the details so it's not going to be an expensive item. We have that and a rug in the process right now, so it will be soon.
uh, William asked, "Did I stick around for Faster Pussycat or LA Guns at the whiskey?" So, how do I put this nicely? No, I
Yeah,
can't watch
I wish I
Faster
could have went to
Pussycat.
those shows too. I mean, but yeah, I didn't get out that weekend.
I'm friendly with Tammy and those guys, but it's over for me. I know Greg Steele did get up and play a little bit. I mean, that's cool, but I don't like these bands when there's no members left. I want I can't do it. And LA Guns, it's just one day I'll see them. They're playing here in Vegas at the Westgate, which is the old International where Elvis played, and they're opening for Tom Kiefer. So maybe I'll go see them there. It was nice to bury the hatchet, so to speak, with Phil. But after one night of the whiskey, I was done with that. I'm done with the whiskey for a while.
Yeah, and
We were gonna go.
I just saw a show advertised today. It's just so much I want to go there and see the shows, but it's so much work to get in, and I'm such a early bird these days. Like staying up late is just I can't do it anymore unless I'm on stage playing. But I just saw the Throbs and Circus of Power is Friday,
Yes,
and I'm
and
like,
Michelle wanted to go, and
yeah,
then Circus of Power dropped out.
oh,
And I'm a bigger Circus of Power fan. And then the Throbs, no respect, Ronnie's been on the show, but it's Faster Pussycats members
it
calling
is.
themselves the Throbs. And
Yeah, well, they've got Danny. They've got Danny and
Danny was there. Yes, Danny.
yeah,
So
original guy. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I wanted to see it. I never got to see the Throb. I got to see Circus of Power back in the day. I got to see them on Magic and Madness right when it came out, and it was everything I wanted it to be. And
I love it. Yeah,
I
that's
loved
one
it.
of my big
Yeah.
ones.
Yep.
I grew up in New York City, so I would see them all the time, walking around and see Rob Zombie walking
Yeah,
around. No one knew.
did we talk about that too? Like I always, when I first saw Circus of Power, I met him after the show and was getting photos, and I had a White Zombie shirt on, and they weren't big then. I think Thunder Kiss was out, and it was just starting to rumble. And I love the first White Zombie record, or that Les Exorcista, if that's how you say it. And he was like, he goes, "Whoa, White Zombie shirt." He goes, "That guy's my neighbor." And I was like,
Mhm,
okay. And he told me that his girlfriend was the purple-haired girl in the Thunder Kiss video dancing.
mhm.
And then when I started listening to White Zombie a little bit later, I don't know, I just started kind of looking at Alex and Rob Zombie and all the yes, and all the tattoos and all that, and watching the way he moved on stage. And I'm like, looks like Rob Zombie had a little influence, or that Alex guy was definitely an influence on him. I watched some old videos recently of them playing off the Vices record, and really, it's almost like it's not so much it's a ripoff. I'm not saying that at all, but it's definitely an influence there.
Yeah, oh, I think so too. I preferred White Zombie to the Rob Zombie music, I think. But I think he was in a relationship with the bass player Sean at some point. I could be wrong, but
I think so.
I would see them together a lot. And I think he went to an art school in New York, or she did. I mean, you would see them. And I will give him this: he had the full look everywhere he went, and it was crazier of a look then. I ran into his drummer Gingerfish at I can't really tell the whole story, but I
Right.
ran into him at one of these House of Blues things, and he went into a tirade about things about political and
Oh yeah.
other, and boy was it! I can't. I don't want to out the guy about anything, and I don't want to lose my monetization. But boy, is he opinionative. Um,
Yeah, COVID might have did a number on him, or the
it
time
seemed
off, like a
it
lot of
seemed like
people.
it did.
Yeah.
It seemed like it did. Okay, let's get to a few more of these questions.
But, yeah, I think that Circus of Power and White Zombie might be one of the first bearded bands I listened to. That
Yes,
was the
that's right.
rule back. If they had a mustache or any type of, I was like, nope, if they had a keyboard player or
Mhm.
any type of facial hair, I was getting out. Like the little soul patch thing really wasn't there yet. I think maybe somebody in Saigon Kick might have had it, maybe, or John Corabi, maybe.
Yes, yeah. Oh, who looks like Sigmund the Sea Monster sometimes. Uh,
Does
okay,
he does?
yeah. All right, let me try to get some of these. Uh, I think Steven is doing the one original member thing right. I don't know. I think Steven is solo, so I don't think it's necessarily the same thing. But nowadays, if you have the lead singer, you kind of have the band. It's changed. Back, it's hard to get full lineups. Georgia asks, how can there be a Riley's LA Guns without Steve Riley? Well, it's a good question. Riley's LA Guns
Well,
was
Jason, I'm gonna go
scheduled.
to the bathroom if you want to handle this, and since I know you know
Yes,
this, guys, I'm gonna go. This cherry Coke is running through me. I'll be back.
I'll see you in just a second. Yeah.
All right, all right.
So Riley's LA Guns was scheduled to play at the Mohegan Sun Arena. That show is coming up in a few weeks. The lineup is Vixen, Riley's LA Guns, Quiet Riot, and Stephen Piercy in a big arena. Um, obviously, Steve has tragically passed. They have a record coming out of LA Guns. It's called, I want to say it wrong because I can't remember. I can't remember. I don't want to say it wrong. But there's a track by track interview, Steve's final interview on his channel. But so they decided that they wanted to honor Steve and play that music from that record. I felt like Riley's LA Guns always wanted to be more of an original band. Of course, the LA Guns name got people in it, and you had two original members of LA Guns. Uh, um, but anyway, Steve's passed. So they are going to do a show as a tribute to him and play some songs. And I think it's a good thing. And they own that name, Riley's LA Guns. And his wife and family have we're okay with it, and so they're going to do it. So yes, Kelly Nichols is in it. Mark Sanchez, will the Vegas show be out of the cellar shows? I want to go to these. According to Steven, they will be. He would like to do it. So those might be shorter sets, but I believe yes, both Vegas shows we're going to do that. All right. Wednesday they were looking for a drummer for Riley's LA Guns. I suggested the drummer that you used on your last tour because he was also in Wasp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that I think they might have contacted him. I don't know where it stands. Scotty Griffin is going to come on here, and then maybe Kelly will come
Yeah.
on and talk
I
about it.
played, it's crazy. I was thinking about this earlier today, like, and then you showed that picture with all the different members. I've had so many people that just in my lineup over the years. And it's just crazy. There's so many people out there. There's drummer wise, even my drummer from 3 drummers ago. I think Pretty Boy Floyd was hitting him up. He's another great drummer too. Like I always look for these guys that not necessarily were into 80s bands, but there's just a certain style and attitude with some of these drummers that I look forward to. Like my perfect kind of drummer. I think we talked about this before. A drummer to watch, like Vicky Fox of Enough's Enough is the master of just looking like a badass. He kind of had that Neil Smith from Alice Cooper's look, where he just tall, skinny, long hair, but just the way he played was the kind of drummers I used to look forward to, look at. And my one of my drummers I had, Racy Shea, was the guy who came in and did that, and he is still like the master of that as well. So again, I don't know where I'm going with this, but there's a lot of good guys out there, so I'm sure they'll find someone. And Steve Rowley was a killer drummer, man. He was great.
It's a shame that his son is an attorney and not a drummer. It would have been great to have his son play. Keith says that the Dark Horse, that is the name of the record. I was going to call it the Dead Horse or something, or the Black Horse or the Pale Horse, but yeah, the Dark Horse. Okay, let's see what we have here. There was an interesting question about your business Wednesday, but I don't think you're ready to talk about it yet.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but maybe at some point he'll discuss it. But it's not. Yeah. I don't think tonight's the night. But here's an interesting one. So Green, what is your next live stream? And then coming face, blue question mark.
Oh.
I'm not as hip on these kids. I don't get the whole of the vibe.
The emoji thing. It's funny because the emoji spells out what that is. Like, I guess.
Do you know what the coming face emoji looks like?
Oh, I'm looking at it up here.
You can see it. Oh, I could probably see it on my TV.
Yeah, but I can't. I'm so blind. I can't tell what it looks like. A hacky sack to me. That's a coming.
I don't know. It's also spelled.
It's a blue question mark. I guess that's a face. I don't know.
Blue face with a mask. I don't know. When's the next live stream? Every Wednesday there's a live stream. They should get Tony Richards, of course. I agree, but I don't think that he's up for it. I don't think we can find him. But that would be great. Some of these questions are. Dr. Paul points out that Rockin' Dave is looking for work. Rockin' Dave of Rough Cut. Formerly of Rough Cut. Some of these questions are a little silly.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. White Zombie should come back with Wednesday 13 on vocals. That's so dumb.
Wednesday Zombie.
Yeah, that would not work. Shotgun Messiah. Yeah, have you ever interviewed Tim Skold from Shotgun Messiah?
I would like to. It's always come up. I'm terrible at reaching out to people.
He plays the song now. I saw he played a Shotgun Messiah song live, like recently. He played the ballad.
He might be more away. Open. Yeah, I'd like to have him on. I've been talking to a lot of interesting people. I talked to Bruce Kulick yesterday from Kiss.
Oh wow!
And I think he's going to come on. He just stepped down from Grand Funk Railroad. All those flying dates catching up to him, like everybody else. And so I think he's going to come on. I've known him for quite some time. I feel bad sometimes hitting my friends up to do this, but one thing I try to point out is that it does something for people too. This is not just for me to, pass time. We move a lot of product. For example, Matt Thorne has got this record. This is #1 on the Burbank bass instrumental charts right now.
I've seen that chart in Burbank here, and he's #1.
It's called Back the Funk Up, and it's available. You go to his website. I think it's in the comments under my favorite things, as well as Wednesday's record, Horrifier. Someone's asked about Mick Mars. We're negotiating. Me and the Mars camp are negotiating. if they will do an
Mick
interview.
is fun, man. He's funny and he's witty, and he'll be a good interview. And I also, a lot of people think I am in a Mick Mars Halloween costume half the time, which is a great one.
Yeah, I have heard people say that. Okay, let's see. Would you have Tom Kiefer? I would like to. He doesn't do a lot of interviews. We've kind of talked about it. He doesn't really do many. His publicist or whatever. Most of the people who've been on here are people that I personally know. I don't really play the publicist game. Sometimes, if you deal with publicists, you have to put on shitty guests to get to the good guests, and I won't do that.
Yeah, my publicist with the label, she writes me and says, "Oh, this person wants to interview you." But by the time she gets to me, that person's already messaged me 5 times on my social media, and I've read it by the time she gets to me. So she has never came to me with anyone that hasn't got to me first. So you're better off just going to the people most of the time instead of these publicists. Or not that they're bad or anything. It's just easier. I read it before they do. I guess because I get up early and I stalk my own stuff.
When you get to these publicists, also the people are usually on a junket, a press junket, where they do 40 of these a day, and they talk to 20. I had Yerky 69 on.
Mhm.
The conversation was 20 minutes. He talked. I didn't say one word. It was over the phone. I couldn't even really see him. But he was in a junket, and he had a lot. I like the guy. I like his music.
Mhm.
You've played with him
He's
quite a
friend of
bit.
mine. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a friend of mine.
But when you get somebody organically on your own, you have a different kind of conversation. But when you have 20 minutes to promote, also a lot of the interviewers are bad. You
They
know
are.
this. You've been interviewed by
Yeah.
bad people.
Oh my
And
God. I can't. Ugh, it's the worst. Like my last, the Horrifier record, and I'm gonna tell my publicist this time, I'm not doing what I did last time. She, now I'll give her credit. She got me the most press I think I've ever done for a solo record ever. But was it good press? I don't know. But I did. It felt like hundreds. I don't know, of interviews, and unfortunately, they're not all like your show, where out of 1 out of 20 are fun and you have someone, but like most of the time, everybody does it's all there's no phone calls anymore. It's all so every interview is, 20 minutes, or the least, or 30 or 40 to do a show, and it gets tough sometimes, and you start answering questions and you don't know if you've answered it already. It is just, yeah, it's a weird thing, and it sucks when you get someone on one of those kind of circumstances.
well, sometimes they don't reach enough people, in my opinion. I think you can spread yourself thin. A lot of people ask me to do their shows, and it was tricky because I talk on here for a couple hours every week. I didn't know if I needed to go on somebody else's show. I said maybe when I get to 20,000, or I have something to promote, something new. Maybe I would have more subscribers if I sat and did other press. But I would hate to talk to people who ask boring questions, and I know what'll happen. I'll talk the whole time and not let them ask a question, and then I'm just doing my show on other people's channels. And then some people say, well, he's got good numbers. If I put him on, I'll have good numbers. But that's not necessarily how it works. And I would be embarrassed if I'm on a channel that has 50 views. I would, oh my God, I would lose my mind. Whereas I know here we got 300 people watching right now. I know what this channel can do, and I'm loyal to this audience. So I don't know. People think it'd be good to see me on some of those shows. Maybe I would do them. I'd like to do one that has some viewers. I remember when the RATT box set just came out. Steven did 500 interviews, and some of them were like ham radio or 2 cans and a string. I mean, some of the
Oh, I
most
did it.
crazy.
Yeah, 2 cans and a string. Yeah,
So
that's
you were in RATT. What was that like? You know what I mean? A lot of that.
yeah. Or my favorite question: What's your favorite horror movie? Like, you're like into it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I asked that question too. Uh, but uh, but yeah, it can be difficult, and there's good people out there too. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. But I find that the world weeds things out. bad bands, bad actors, bad hosts. If you're not great at this, the technology isn't so hard. But to come on and talk to people, and sometimes talk to people that you don't know. I've done some interviews here. I mean, I could tell you stories off the air. I've never told this one story ever. Maybe I'll tell it right now. Somebody told me that Alex Skolnick of Testament was gay. Okay. And they were positive, and they said he's out of the closet. And then I Googled some things that implied that he was out of the closet. He he I guess he gets picked on a lot by conservative people and things, and he wanted to kind of be original, and he took a picture of some at some gay pride thing or something. So I just believed it. And before the interview, I go, "Hey, are you cool answering questions about your sexuality?" He was shocked.
Oh, wow.
He was shocked, and I had never been so embarrassed. I'm like, "I gotta do the interview now," even though I just totally tanked, and it was kinda early, and he's like, "I do shows like this every day. This is nothing." Now the
Oh,
show's pretty popular, but,
I don't know why that story just reminded me. This is super short, but just one of those embarrassing kind of things. I remember being on the side of the stage when Evanescence was playing Download Festival in the UK. They had just came out, and that song was huge, that whatever that song's called. And at the time, that girl, she looked like a Murder Dolls fan. I mean, she did. She was dressed just like we'd seen the 100 of her right before, and we had played that the day before. We're at Download, and Joey Jordison and I were on the side of the stage, and we didn't even know who was playing. I knew they were playing. He wasn't even aware who was playing. He was talking to some people, and she was standing in the corner, and she had like the nervous energy before she goes on stage. And Joey's like, "Oh man, that fan's over there. She's nervous. I'm gonna go talk to her." And I was like, "Yeah, you better." So he walks over to the girl's like, "Hey, do you want to get an autograph?" And she's like, "What the fuck? I'm about to go on stage." So it was just one of those. He's like, "You asshole." So it was one of those good. I knew that moments, but yeah, he felt like
Yeah, with it, those things happen in the moment. They feel so embarrassing, but,
yeah. He
yeah,
didn't know
when
who she was, and they got bigger, but I just thought that was hilarious. He's like, "Oh, she's waiting for an autograph." I'm like, "Yeah, go at."
uh,
Good.
will the Sin City merch be available? Yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. People keep asking for that CD. We were gonna do more of them. I kind of feel like it's cooler not to do another one, to be like the Sex Pistols and have one record, and then maybe I'll do some other musical things. I've talked about doing something for a good charity. I used to do every big event in Vegas. We would do something. So maybe at some point that will happen again. Favorite Godzilla movie is not my thing. Maybe that's a question for Wednesday.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
If everyone's
not
like
my
trying to
thing.
go, like, you have to go see the new Godzilla. My whole band went to go see it one night, and I stayed and did laundry. I'm like, I'm not going to go read it. There's no way this is going to be anywhere as good as half the other Godzilla movies that I haven't seen. I know it, and
Yeah.
I don't have the. And there's a Godzilla channel. I could just
Really?
watch on Pluto. I think it's just on Godzilla channel like all the time. So I like Godzilla. I mean, he's right here beside me. I got a little Godzilla head. I like the
Mhm.
idea, but I'm not going to go see Godzilla and read it. It's just not ready.
Charlie says that he's 62 years old and he's a guitarist and he's watching concerts from European Festival. That's a great one. You're an awesome performer.
Or,
Props. So it's great to see new people turned on
thank you.
to Wednesday 13. Wednesday, someone asked, "What's your favorite horror movie?" But I wanted to say, have you seen the new Exorcist movie?
No, we heard it was bad, right? Wasn't it? We were talking about this when we were hanging out. I think it just came out,
Well,
or
somebody on the inside told us it was really bad, but you know what? I kind of think it's worth watching.
all
Call
right,
me crazy. And
okay.
I when I saw it, I thought, okay, this is like the Black Exorcist, like it's the Black Little Mermaid, and not that there's anything wrong with that,
Right,
but I
right.
thought that that's the new gimmick. I didn't think it's the worst thing I'd ever seen. Like, is it great? No, but I went into it expecting to turn it off within 5 minutes, and
Right,
I
right.
watched it right around Christmas, and I
Okay.
figure, it's kind of Christmas related. I mean, Christ is represented,
Yes.
and so it's interesting. The story moves a little bit. It's a little different. It's about two kids this time who become
Right, right.
possessed, and I thought it's interesting, and I thought some of the acting wasn't that terrible, and it was cool to see that chick. I can't think of her name. The mother.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, there's gonna be 2 more of those. Isn't that guy that did the Halloweens doing, like, a trilogy of those? So that's his
Yeah,
next movie?
this is all you need. It's going to get bad.
Yeah, so
it's
it's gonna happen. So, I mean, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I'm not against it. I just don't mark my calendar for this stuff. You know what I mean? Like if it's
no.
on, I'll watch it and I'm like, oh, okay. I just got to be in the mood, like for me to sit down and watch something. I'm probably going to, well, most of the time I'm going to watch something older. Again, I'm going to watch something I've already seen. Like if you went, oh, you can watch this new Exorcist or you can watch Caddyshack. I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to watch Caddyshack.
Hmm.
That's just how I
Yeah,
am. I wish I wasn't that way, but I am.
I'm normally with you on that, but lately I find myself, yeah, Ellen Burstyn is Chris
But
McNeil is her.
I do like documentaries. I did come home from tour and I had it on my list to watch. I watched the Milli Vanilli documentary.
Yeah, how was it?
It's great. I mean, it's sad. It makes my brain's always going and thinking and stuff. And like it ends, not to ruin it for everybody, but they can look this up online. But the one surviving guy of the duo, he performs and he sounds good. And I'm like, if this other guy just wouldn't have spun out, if he would have waited around, like what he because it sounds. I mean, I don't know if you've seen videos of it, but like the guy has a band, and like you would never know if you didn't know the whole story behind it. But it is a crazy story how they fooled everybody and how you just couldn't do it today that same way. I don't think. Oh, maybe you could. I don't know. Uh, it's a lot easier to do it then, but it's just crazy how they just fooled everybody,
Yeah.
and but it was interesting, but yeah, I often when I see stuff like that, it makes me wonder, like someone like Wendy O. Williams, who went out, and now what she would be like these days, because it seemed like women in rock became like a thing where it was a big deal there for a while. All these other rockers and stuff. There's even a Butcher Babies band that has their song named after. So I wonder if she would have hung out, if she would have felt her due. You know,
Hmm.
'Cause
Yeah.
someone called the Plasmatics up, and I love that band. I was just watching some videos on them, and but yeah, I often wonder that.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm telling you The Exorcist is a good movie. I'm saying if you
Right.
got nothing better to do, to hear Tubular Bells is the whole thing. Wednesday when I get on a plane, I try to keep people from sitting next to me if it's like
Yeah,
Southwest.
it's a
So what
good
I
thing.
do is I put my Michael Myers bag in the seat, and
Oh,
usually people look at it, and then I will play either the Halloween theme or Tubular Bells. I'll have it in my pocket and I'll let it
really?
play. Hmm.
Huh.
Michelle hates it. She does not like to fly with me. She thinks it's terrible. And then she thinks, well, they know the music's coming from you. And I go, yeah. And do you think you want to sit next to the guy who's recreationally playing Tubular Bells?
That's
Uh,
right.
uh, and when we go to Austin, Texas, I'll do it for both of us. But Wednesday, that's the thing. When your schedule is a little light, and
Mhm.
mine is as well, we're going to go to Texas. I'm going to see if Sean Clark will go too. There's this thing called Texas Frightmare Weekend. It's a convention. I'm sure
Oh,
you've heard of it.
yeah. Yeah, I've been wanting to do that. I think I would do really well there. I have a lot of fans in Texas, and I've been asked about
Yes.
being a I don't know why. Maybe I can do some of those this summer.
So if we get Sean to take care of it because he has a connection to that show,
Mhm.
then maybe we can go to the Halloween gas station, which is a barbecue, and
Yeah,
then
the
go to
chick
the house, which is a restaurant, the content would be outstanding. And
I
so
would
that's what
love
I'm
to.
looking at.
I know so much about those movies. That's just my favorite, as we've said. And someone brought me a really cool. I don't, can't my big head's in the way, but this yeah, there's a Leatherface figure I got. Someone brought me on tour, and it's so cool. It's like it might be the best one. You know, I'm gonna show it to you. It might be the best
Yeah,
one. It may be the best one. Uh, uh,
Mandy makes a good point, but I don't mind that. I don't mind if someone sits next to me because they
so
enjoy Michael Myers and Tubular Bells. I'm okay with it. So it's like
so
fishing.
yeah.
Sometimes you catch a good one.
This is by Mezco,
Mezco, yeah.
uh, but I opened it. It's might be the best one that
Wow, look at that.
it's and it comes on a little stand with the movie poster,
I like
and
that.
he has two different heads. So I put on the my white lights blurring it out, but I put on the dinner mask,
Naturally.
which is my favorite. So but yeah, this thing is super cool. I didn't even know this existed, but a fan brought it for me and was like, "Oh, this is fresh out." And I'm like, "Okay." Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, this is my favorite movie. So yes, I'll have some time free, and we will absolutely go there and get some barbecue, and I can
Yeah.
just quote the movie the entire time and drive you insane. So
Yeah. Well, that's all right. We'll go to the cemetery and we'll go to all the different spots, and most of them look the same, and we'll make some great. I don't think Benson had anything to do with Texas, but maybe we can find. Maybe
no,
we can find
there
something.
could be a connection there somehow. I don't know, but maybe.
Okay, let's see, and then we'll get out of here. We're almost at the 2 hour mark.
I'm gonna
People
go use my
enjoying.
new air fryer. I did get something for Christmas. I got a new air fryer. I'm excited.
I've never used an air fryer.
Well, it'll change your life.
That's what I
I was
hear.
I was the Uber Eats guy for a while, and then
Mhm.
now it's hardly ever unless I'm on tour.
Yeah, this is Granger, Texas. That's where we're going.
Yeah.
I don't know where that Texas Frightmare is, but wherever it is, it's either a drive or a Southwest flight away.
Texas is
And we,
always fun. I always have a good time there.
yeah,
I
uh,
my accent, I fit right in there.
I
Pardon
had
me?
a feeling. I
Yeah.
wanted to do a video about the Kennedy locations. Listen, a million people have already done it, but I wanted to see it. I've never gone to Dallas to see that stuff. And so Stephen has a stop there with a day off the day before. So that'll give me a chance to go to the grassy knoll and, the book place. And it'll be interesting.
Why
I,
don't we
I'm,
go to the Alamo and do a whole tour, and at the end go, "Hey, where's the basement at?" And just be
mhm.
all serious about it and video it and see if we get the same reaction.
Yes, that could be good too. Uh, Mandy would like to know what Wednesday wears on laundry day. I think he's wearing it.
Somebody was asking about my pants because I wear the same clothing. I have another pair of these pants. I have like three pairs of these, so I'm sorry to ruin it for you. But on laundry day, I wear one of these three pairs. I hate to ruin it for you, and everything's black. I don't really have anything of color.
The the young people, the grammar is horrendous. Uh,
Yes, yes,
Jason and Wendy's Day 13. Wendy's Day is fantastic, especially if you get the Frosty. What
yes.
is the best state you went?
Oh, I don't even know how do
What is
you,
the best state you went Wednesday?
I, I don't really know how to answer that. We went to a
I'll
lot of,
tell you places that I enjoyed, and then you can think about it.
mhm.
I like Washington State. I like Seattle. I enjoy visiting there. I like the weather. I like the nature. I really enjoyed Key West, Florida. I'm not necessarily a fan of the state of Florida, but boy, Key West is as close to going to another world while still being in the United States. Those were two places on tour that I really it was surprised how much I enjoyed.
Um, I don't know. it sucks because I go to places and I don't really get to go out and do anything because we're so busy with our shows. Like I get to go out on my walks, but it's pretty quick and it's just like in the area. I don't try to go too far and get mugged or picked up.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Texas is always fun. I have a lot of friends and stuff through there. Like our band, two of the guys are from San Antonio, so they always have a good time in Texas. Um, I don't know. Being able to go through North Carolina is always fun because I got family and stuff there. And I realize just how different it is there now compared to the weather and stuff out here. It's just two different worlds there as well. So I don't know. I'm lucky I get to go around and see a lot of different places, and I don't really know if I have a favorite place.
That you went.
Yeah, I don't know.
Puerto
I'd have
Rico, I enjoyed Puerto Rico very much. It's a good tour diary if anyone hasn't seen it. I liked it.
someone asked over here, did I ever meet children of Bodom? Yes, many times.
Very
Actually, Alexi Liho, who passed away, he's on our cover of Animal by Wasp that's on my Necrophase album. He does the guitar solo and vocals on the chorus. And I also sang on Children of Bodom's album. They did a cover of Plasmatics, Mistress of Taboo, and I do vocals on that with him. And actually, Alexi, before he passed, he sent me an email and asked me to sing on his new project and wanted to cover, wanted me to, he said, I'm not sure. We're either doing Love and Use a Dirty Job. It was between two RATT songs he wanted me to sing on. I'd have to look at the email again, and he wanted me, and he wanted permission to cover a Murder Dolls song. And that was the last
nice.
email I heard of him before he passed. So yeah, there's a connection there. A lot of people don't know about that. And he was also going to be at one point, he was going to be the guitarist in the new version of Murder Dolls. It just didn't work out. So there's a big connection there with Alexi. Him and Joey were really, really close. And they're very similar, like just the way they look and their size. And they were both like geniuses on their instruments too.
All
My
right.
cat's
Yeah.
here, by the way. If you want to know, Scream is here. She's done with her nap.
All right. Let's see what else we have.
Season 4.
Just getting through everybody. San Antonio. I will be in San Antonio with Stephen Piercy sometime kind of soon. Uh, Go to his website, officialstephenpiercy.com, to see where we'll be. I'm trying to get to everybody's questions. Lorraine was disappointed that Dirty Job didn't make the set. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's a hard set list to do. Uh, Sometimes I get a headache just trying to read these comments.
A lot of questions.
Would you ever have Blackie Lawless on the show? So we talked about it for a minute. It was one of those publicist things. The guy's kind of a character, and then he did Eddie Trunk and didn't do anybody else after that. Is essentially what happened. I wanted to talk to him about being in the New York Dolls. He replaced Johnny Thunders. Much more interesting than all the lip syncing he's doing. So, but it didn't. It didn't come around. That's okay. When I started this show, I was slightly competitive. Everyone wants the same interviews. It's like the good old days when Oprah and Geraldo and Phil Donahue were daytime, and Letterman and Leno and whoever were nighttime. Everyone wanted the interviews. Now I don't want to really talk to someone that's talking to everyone because they're going to tell you the same shit. Um, what I like about this show is that my audience is they're pretty loyal. They like to tune in to watch people that they don't even know. That's the best thing about doing this job. I'm excited when I talk to somebody and I become a fan. I'm a fan of Wednesday's music. Hot Chicks have always told me it's good. I just didn't listen to it. And now, Hot Chicks can't be wrong.
They
Mark Slaughter
never
will
are.
be here. Say it again.
Said they never are wrong ever.
Never, never. Mark Slaughter will be here. Those guys don't do a lot of interviews. I see Mark. I saw him recently. He's a great guy, and I see him all the time. But they want some people want to have something to promote. or what's the point in talking? Pete Loran of Trickster is going to be here soon. He's waiting to have something to promote. He's going to answer the question, how the hell is there a band called Trickster that he's not in? What's going on? I got to get to the bottom of it. All right, let's see. Twisted Fork. By the way, when people super chat like that, I don't even pre-read the question. Who knows what this could say? This
All
could be
right.
Epstein's list.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to know if I was on that list earlier. I don't know. I haven't read the list. I shouldn't be on it, but you never know.
From what I saw,
I'm almost infamous.
Bill Clinton is on the list.
Oh, yeah, I think that was already coming.
I think everybody knew that to
Yeah.
begin with. Thanks for wasting some time with us tonight, gents. Wednesday, I really dig the acoustic rendition of More Than Words. Are the chords posted online?
No, but they're
is it in G?
It's very, very easy. The tuning is in a drop C tuning, but it's 3 chords. Very simple punk rock song. And the title was a parody of Extreme More Than Words. That's all I got for you. I don't know if there. I don't know about tabs online. Some people, if there is any Wednesday 13 tabs online or Murder Dolls tabs, someone has done it on their own. I don't know how to do that.
Michelle had a good idea. She said we should do a contest on the show where we take 4 song titles. 3 of them are real Wednesday song titles, and 1 is one that we make up. And there'll be sort of horror movie hair metal puns. And we will see in the audience if they can identify which is the false song. So we're working on that soon.
All right. There's a lot of ones that there's some good ones. There was one I found the other day. It's actually a really good song. But the title is just so goofy, and it's, I guess it's not goofy if you don't know it, but if you know it, you're like, really? Come on, dude. I wrote one called Morgan Mindy.
That's great.
And it's about a girl. It's about a guy where if it's a guy or a girl working in the morgue and starts having, it's all about, dead sex, fun stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. This is Hocus Pocus of Frosty the Snowman. He's the one who gets the hat. Yeah. And, I got a Hocus Pocus for Christmas. Goes into the collection. A Rankin Bass character. I promise you, Matt Thorne does not know who he is. Okay, let's get to a few more questions, and then we're almost 2 hours, and then we'll get the hell out of here. Wednesday has a life, and no, I do not. But let's see. I'm going to be doing. I have to sit down and make plans for all the things I don't want to go to.
Right.
I got to tell you, Wednesday, about this event Johnny and I got invited to. It's a very prestigious event, but I'm going to send you the flyer that no one's supposed to see. But when you see it, you're going to go, "This is the event." We're trying to figure out how to get out of it. Put it like that. Okay. A lot of people love Wednesday's cat Scream.
She is 10 years old this month.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked about John Christ. Obviously, Jesus' little brother.
Yeah.
I'd have him on. I mean, I got to tell you, like, if this was the only thing I did, I think I'd work harder at it. When the channel started, it was the pandemic. I just went crazy. Now, the idea of tracking down John Christ just doesn't sound that appealing to me. But if he's watching, I'd love to have him on. Sure, why not?
Isn't he doing like conventions? I think I saw him on a Mad Monster or something.
He's doing those kind of things, yeah.
I did a couple of years on, I think, years and years ago. Yeah.
Matt likes to stay back on the stage. He doesn't want to be in the way. He likes to kind of play the bass by the drums. That's his thing. And by the way, he's got a record. It's the #1 a funk instrumental bass record in Burbank right now.
It's #1 on Burbank Boulevard right now.
Yeah, it's good. It's called Back the Funko, and I recommend it. He's been selling a lot of copies of it. It's kind of been a novelty to me now to see how many copies of that thing can I sell. So if you don't have one, get it now, and he'll sign it for you. And tell him you want the Casio Christmas too. That he'll send it to you as a bonus. I know it's past Christmas, but Wednesday, did you ever get to know or meet Peter Steele?
Yes, he was a friend of mine. Typo guys were friends. I'm still friends with Johnny and Kenny. I think one of the last tours they may have done, Wednesday 13 did support for them for a couple of weeks. I think Hatebreed was on the tour, and then Hatebreed came off, and then we finished out the tour. Yeah, I was a big Typo fan, and touring with them was even more fun. The best part about touring with Typo Negative, sorry, my cat's got hairs everywhere now, so I'm just like, was their after show. They were such Kiss nerds, and they would turn their after show, whatever backstage area, into like this Kiss museum. I'm talking like this was back when Spencer's Gift had all the Kiss stuff, everything. They had everything that Spencer's had and everything else you could imagine. And as soon as the show was done, after show, they just had a stereo set up, just Kiss on repeat, and a never-ending supply of like Jaeger and Crown, and it was just Kiss party. Sometimes it's like, hey, yeah, we got to hurry up with the show because Kiss party starts at and I'm just like, this is a real deal. And but yeah, I got to know those guys really well. Peter would hang out and tell cool stories. He told one story about how he got glow in the dark fingernail polish and painted his front teeth, and the fumes, he didn't think about the fumes, and he got so high off of it. It was just this ridiculous situation. And he was to my, he just looked like this, he was already 7 feet tall, and he just had glow in the dark teeth, and he was just mumbling, and people outside some apartment in New York City, I don't know, he told the greatest. It was like hanging out with Herman Munster. That's the best way to explain Peter. And he loved Herman Munster, and he took that as a compliment.
There's a story that they broke a toilet backstage, and the venue told them, you're going to have to pay for that toilet. It's going to be whatever, $500. And so they went and got a wrench, and they unscrewed the toilet, and they said, well, if we're paying for it, we're going to take it. And they took the toilet on the bus.
Yeah, that sounds.
There's a lot of those kind of stories. Johnny Kelly, I see all the time because he's in Quiet Riot. We play a lot of shows with him, and he will stay around usually and watch Steven's a set, and we'll talk. And I said to him, listen, I've been thinking you should go out there and play the music of Typo Negative, with Kenny. And it's not disrespectful. Most young people have never gotten to hear it. And if you call it a tribute to that music, I think they would like it. And I suggested Yerky 69 would be a great choice. He pointed out to me that there's a band called October Noir. And they started as a Typo cover band, but now they play originals. And he said that this guy does the best Peter Steele he's ever heard. He said he doesn't roll his R's exactly, but anyway, look, this is for those guys. I'm going to try to have him and Kenny on here together, but maybe one day they will go out and play some of that music.
I think they could. I don't think it. I mean, I don't know. Should they do it? I think it's up to those guys. If they want to do it, they could do it. Yeah, I'm sure I've heard tons of people that could even possibly fit in that roster of him. But musically, yeah, I think there's somebody out there that could do. There's someone out there that could sound like me. There's someone out there that could do it. But will it ever capture what they were live? Because some people hear their records, and if you didn't know the band live, their show was hilarious. I mean, they had like sitcom, they had like applause meters in the audience for you to cheer, and that like you suck. Like they had like it was the weirdest, coolest thing, and it was just they were a bizarre band, and they brought in all these goth kids off of almost like a joke with the Black Number One. So it was, I don't know, man. It's they were a really unique band, and musically, yeah, there's no one else quite like them, and they could continue musically. But I think them trying to replace a Peter type, yeah, that's impossible.
Well, I
That's
don't think you can replace him, and I
yeah,
definitely don't think that you're not even going to find the personality to do it. You could
yeah,
hear
he
the
was a
music, and you could probably look if Pantera could get back together, anything could happen. I
yeah.
I hate to say, in my opinion, and boy, I get in trouble with this one, but I don't think for a second Dime or Vinny would have wanted this. Not for a second. I was with Vinny very close to the end of his life. I can't tell you how many times he told me there's no chance in hell that he would ever play with them. Now, maybe he would have changed his mind one day, but I don't know. I think after his brother passed, he was against any type of Pantera. And I will tell you that people pitched him Zach Wild back
Mhm.
then. It wasn't new. That idea had been floated, and he was very much against it. Now, do I think the other two guys should be told not to make a living? No, of course. And people are enjoying hearing that music.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
don't know,
let's
man. I
see.
mean, it's like I said, they the music. I'm sure they could find someone that could sing it and do it somewhat. I mean, look at Alice in Chains. They were able to
Yeah,
do that too, and that's a good example of what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's musically, I think they could do it, but capturing what people saw a long time ago, well, I don't think they'd want to do that, But who knows what those guys want to do?
yeah.
Oh,
I
hang on the
think
rock.
start looking. I think we'll be seeing it very soon. um, but I didn't say anything. I don't know for sure. Hanoi Rocks. I did reunite Hanoi Rocks. That is true. I believe Nasty Suicide will come back soon, and he will give me my victory lap because a lot of people didn't believe me that I did it. But I went and asked those guys, and a lot of fans went and asked them, and they all said that there was absolutely no plan about it until I spoke to each one. I did their dirty work. Michael Monroe didn't want to talk to those guys.
So what
So,
did you do? I didn't even know what did they do?
oh, okay, yeah. So I always wanted. I've known Sammy Yaffa for a long time, and so I had him on a couple of times. He had a book and a record to promote, and I told him, "What's the chance of ever getting Hanoi Rocks together again?" He's in Michael Monroe's band.
Mhm.
Sometimes Nasty comes up to play. Okay, well, all we got to do is get Andy McCoy, and the original drummer, Jip Casino, great name, is still living. He was there before Razzle, played on 3 albums. And uh, and so Sammy kind of gave me the old, I don't think it'll happen. I found out that he's not that friendly with Andy McCoy. And then I went to Nasty, which was rare. I always wanted to interview that guy. To me, he's one of those Izzy Stradlin kind of reclusive characters. He went to work in the pharmaceutical industry and was off the radar in Finland. And so he was really a great interview. He had some health issues, but I floated it to him, and he sort of said, "Well, I don't know." And then I went to Andy McCoy and I said, let's get Hannah Rocks back together. I knew he was the hard one. I got him on a day when he wasn't that intoxicated. Other interviews with him online are really hard to watch. He was driving in a car. He
I
was in the
saw
passenger seat.
saw the
And
interview.
yeah, and he was pretty good. And then I went to Michael Monroe and I said, okay, I've interviewed your entire band and I've asked every one of them, what about a reunion? And I go, I know you have this birthday show coming up
Okay,
with
so that
special
was
guests.
okay, right.
Yeah, and
But
I was like, "Have you thought about it?" And he went, "No." But he goes, "But what did Andy say?" And I told him what each guy said, and I said, "Everyone's open to it." And he kept saying, "Interesting." When it was over, within a few days, they announced that show, they held the press conference with Jib Casino that the original line would get back together. So a lot of people said, "Oh, you just suggested it." Well, I did suggest it, but then the band members themselves told me that that was the key to doing it, that I spoke to Andy instead of them having to do it. They were hoping to do more.
mhm.
I don't think they got along very well with Andy. Is my guess. We'll
Yeah,
ask Nasty when he's here. Demolition 23. Are you familiar with that record?
I listened to it today at the gym.
It's
That's
great, and
one of the best. So good.
they're promoting that. I kind of prefer that to Hanoi in some ways. It's a little more
It's
punk for me.
really good. That record is really, really good. Like that
Yeah,
and Degeneration's first album is two of my favorite records people don't really know about.
yeah. If anyone's watching, uh, you check those both out, Degeneration and
Yeah,
Demolition
I have to do
20.
I got to do Hanoi Rock's farewell tour in Japan as Wednesday 13 was the main support. So we got to do that when it was still Michael and Andy, but he had Electric Boys as his rhythm section. So I got to know Michael and Andy pretty well and got some crazy stories. I thought I was going to die hanging out with Andy a couple of times. Just the partying level was just, I couldn't get away from him. It was like he just,
I can
it was
imagine.
like, he's like the party ghost. It's like, go away. He's like, woo, here I am. And it's just crazy stuff. But I never thought I would ever see Hanoi Rocks, much less get to know them and do a tour with them. So I feel like I've seen Bigfoot. That's how rare it is, you know. And I got to do like 2 weeks in Japan with them, which is crazy. So to hear they even got back together was, or even got in the same room together was because when they were done, they were done.
One of these cruises or M3s should lay the dough out and get Hanoi Rocks. Everyone else has already played. There's not much left. It's difficult with those guys with visas. Andy McCoy has canceled so many shows in America because he has trouble getting into the country. Nasty at one point had some time getting in as well. Okay, let's see. Would you ever have Kyle on the show? I love Kyle. I worked with him. I managed the band he was in. I don't think he would do an interview. Kyle was in a car accident at some point, and he had some issues, memory issues. He's a nice guy, but I don't think I've ever seen him do an interview. So I don't think so. A lot of people talking about music to crash your car to. I've never been the biggest Motley Crue fan in the world, and that was definitely one of their lower points. Your singer killed somebody, and you name your record "Music to Crash Your Car To." I blame Nikki Sixx for all of these bad decisions. This is the guy who also thought a swastika would have been a good band logo. You know, but let's see. Um, Wednesday's not going to say a word because they might call him any day now.
I know a lot of people. I
Yeah,
can't.
you got to be careful.
I can't say a lot of things. That's what's called pet my cat.
No, it's smart. It's
Yeah.
smart. And the fans also. That's the other hard thing. You have to go out there, and people they're passionate about these bands.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like, I'm friends with Michael and Nikki Sixx. I know both of them. Both of them have been nothing but cool to me. You know what I mean? So to get in their business, I mean, I just try to stay out of it,
That's
Yeah.
what these shows are sort of fun for, because we're all playing armchair quarterback. I don't really have to be in this world. Sometimes I wonder what happens when I run into one of these people that I talk shit about. But although I'm pretty easy on most bands, I don't, and I do respect that people are attempting to make a living. But that record was in bad taste, and then
Yeah,
that's
did
it.
they even have anything to do with it? I remember getting that record or that box set at a Murder Dolls were doing in stores, and they would let you get like some free stuff. And
Right.
I was like, oh, I'm going to get all these box sets because I'm not buying these things. And I remember I picked that up like in Japan actually, and I didn't know if to me it looked like something that somebody just put out with their name and they didn't even look at it, even think twice about it. That's what I feel like, but I could be wrong. That could be something they worked on I have no idea. I thought it was just some sort of release they put out and no one really even looked at the title. I feel like I can't think they'd be that boneheaded to put something out and read that title. I don't know. I feel like that was
Yeah, I mean, I think Nikki Sixx likes shock value. A lot of people said here that Michael and Nikki made amends. It's not Nikki wasn't the issue. It's Michael and Vince made amends. That was the issue. And I will tell you that talking to the guys in Hanoi Rocks, they don't completely blame Vince. Andy McCoy does. But the other guys, Sammy Yaffa, for example, says that Razzle got in the car. He was intoxicated as well. They made a lot of bad decisions. They were young. Razzle was very young. And people drinking can make dumb decisions, like driving to a liquor store that they could have walked to while going too fast. And Sammy said he could have seen Razzle yelling, "Hey, go faster!" Sammy was in the car with the two of them earlier that day. So, they're not all as angry. Andy has some other issues with Vince, and yeah, and naming that record that was in bad business. Andy
Yeah,
believes that Nikki Sixx made up a lot of stories. I think a lot of people know that. Nikki Sixx is a showman. He's in the business of, real life is boring. He's sometimes creating a little theater is okay.
yeah.
I will tell you that Steven Adler and others have told me that most of the Nikki Sixx stories are phony, that the ODing story is pretty much fake. The one he comes back to life to kickstart my heart. Adler claims he was there, and it's not true. And so it's interesting. I don't think I'm throwing Adler under the bus. I don't think he's watching. Um, but they'd like to see you back in Japan
Yes, I
Wednesday.
would love to get back to Japan. Last time I was there was the 2011 tsunami earthquake. I was
Hmm.
there during that, and we let our tour got canceled because of it. We got one show done, and everything went down. So that was my last time I was there. I'd love to go back. I know we have an audience there. I'm hoping a promoter will pick us up and take us. I'm down.
I
So
think I bet you it happens soon. Things are opening up
yeah,
and things are starting to happen
I
again.
did a lot of stuff in Japan. Murder Dolls have played there. I did the Farewell Hanoi Rocks tour. I did my own headline tour there. Uh, it's just such a cool place. It's unfortunate I was there during that time, and
I think they
but now
just had another problem
they
recently.
did. I did,
Yeah.
and instantly I got that feeling again. Like I had some really bad PTSD with that after that for a while, but yeah, just hearing about that the other day, I watched videos of it, and it just instantly just goes, oh, just that, yeah,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Referring to the car crash, somebody made the point. I try to make that point as well. There was two other people who were paralyzed, who are often forgotten in that tragedy.
mhm.
We mentioned that as well. Okay, let's see here. Well, we've been on for over 2 hours. Wednesday, I'm sure you have a life. I mean, not so much, but at some point, I got to put all this Christmas shit away. I mean,
I
I
just took my Halloween stuff off my front porch, or you saw my decorate. I just took them down yesterday because I was
yeah,
just like, I was gonna leave. I left up a couple, like there's a couple things up, but I took them all down. I'm like, all right, I got to give it a break. What's the fun to leave it all up all year if you're just gonna.
that's what I tell myself about Halloween things. I mean, listen, just like you, some Halloween things are in my house all year long, but some decorations come out. And same with Christmas. I mean, I celebrate probably, 60 days of Christmas around here, and Halloween's the rest of the year. So, all right, let's see. This list was the big news today, and no one has
Yeah,
told me any. Someone's got to be watching the news
I'm
and can
sure it'll
tell
be
me.
up. By the time I'm up in the morning, I'll get the full list, and then you can watch Alex Jones when it's afterward and hear all the details.
I don't think you can even say his name on this channel. I'm,
Oh, didn't he get
I'm
didn't he get unbanned? Didn't he get unbanned? That Twitter.
I don't even want to guess.
All right, whatever.
Uh,
That was a
okay.
joke, by the way. That guy.
Yes,
I pay attention. I watch everything. I watch all the clowns.
yeah, yeah. It's there's a lot of them. All right. Well, listen. I think we answered questions. Everyone who was here last week, they had questions for Wednesday. Some called him Wendy's Day, and
Yes,
they're not teaching in the schools Wednesday.
I don't think so.
They're
That's
homeschooling is ruining everything.
I
Uh,
believe so.
Rayanne, thanks for a great live. Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. It's enjoyable to chat, and again, a lot more content coming from Wednesday and I. In addition to the things that we really do, I mean, obviously, go to officialwednesday13.com. Get ready to see Wednesday all over the world. It's a world tour, and
It
he's
is.
performing the music of the Murder Dolls. And listen, at some point, he's going to stop that. He's going to go back to performing the music of Wednesday 13.
This will be the last year of doing. Well, I just because once we were done with the touring and stuff this year, we've hit every territory, and I have to record a new record this summer. And so this time next year, we'll be planning the tour for that record and more tours and all that stuff. So it's been fun to go back and revisit that stuff. But if I was thinking about it toward the end of the tour, I'm like, if I had to keep just playing these songs and that was all I had to do, I wouldn't be happy with that. I love playing the songs and they're fun, but like I put a lot of work into into my own stuff. You know, I'm about to write my 10th album, you know, so it's there's a lot of cool stuff. And there's a lot of people that have no idea of any of that music too, that've heard the Murder Dolls and like, oh, that's cool. But if they heard those records, they would dig them as well. So yeah, but I'm excited to get back to doing that. I'm already planning ideas and a set list in my head going, oh, I want to play that song when I go back, or I want to wear that. I got to get that. So slowly I'm brainstorming that idea as well. So
All right, I'm trying. Yeah, I get you. And let's see. Yeah. So anyway, enjoy.
Just trying to hang out with my GI Joe stuff here.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. I got a lot of filing to do myself
Yes.
of memorabilia, and next time I'll show some more of that. I got to get this Christmas stuff out of here first. But all right, Wednesday, good talking. I'm gonna send you some of the stuff that I couldn't say on the air.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and we'll do our own. We'll do a second show. Actually, if you stay right there, Wednesday, we'll say goodbye to everybody, and then you and I can just talk right here.
Yeah.
All right. So now I got to remember to say like, comment, and subscribe. I keep forgetting it. Everybody tells me I need to step up my influencing. Thank God for Wednesday and his audience, because Wednesday's got like 70 billion Instagram followers.
70 billion and one.
And one, yeah. Well, I like to think that the one came from me.
Yes. Yes.
But so anyway, you can check all that out. But make sure you follow me and all my links in the description, and blah blah blah. We'll see you next Wednesday. New tour diary will be here soon, and all that. Thank you, Wednesday.
All right. Thank you. See you next time.